This is CBC Windsor. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jennifer LaGrassa. Katarina is away. A plan for the future of Wheatley's town centre is in the works, but it's on the site of an explosion that happened nearly 4 years ago. And following a gas leak in the community last week, some residents are concerned about safety in the area that's slated for change. Jacob Barker has more.
This is very close to where an explosion happened in August of 2021 in Wheatley. But now in the middle of it are these two big boards showing some proposals of what a future town center in Wheatley might look like.
But last week, a gas leak just a few steps away from here had the town on edge. The thought of redevelopment raises safety concerns for some residents.
It'll be nice to see something over there, but it's still kind of scary what's going on.
I think they need to make sure that everything's safe to do so, right? Especially, if this keeps happening, right? It disrupts businesses and, it causes a lot of fear in the community, right?
An investigation into last week's incident is looking to see if there's any connection with the wells found and still being monitored on this block.
That's part of what the University of Windsor is doing, is checking the gas analysis against what we had to begin with from our original site against this to see if we have a different source, if it's just a water well or if it's somehow connected to these deeper sources that we've had at the other site.
But the mayor says the plan to redevelop in this area is continuing.
The province has spent a lot of money. The municipality has gotten ready. It worked very well that within 24 hours we were able to remedy all this. So I get it, the residents are concerned, but we should be looking to the future as well to say what we put in place really did work, and I expect it to continue working as we move forward in Wheatley.
Whether or not equipment being used to remediate the gas wells need to be a part of the future plan is being decided over the next 6 months, but options for a park to be built has been presented to the public, and a final concept is in the works.
There are multiple areas where different activities could be held. So let's say we're having a concert in one section of the space, then we could do yoga in another section. We have a little conversation area across from the post office where you would see people naturally sort of gathering and conversing in a community like Wheatley in a town center.
A new Legion is already being built nearby, and the community is looking to attract businesses as well.
What's happening across the road right now? There's been a lot of interest in those sites, and we have a very, very positive outlook on what will be happening there.
And there is some anticipation for the plan to come to fruition.
Any plan to restore it back to its greatness would be wonderful. It is a great community. I'm excited about it.
The mayor says that the next step is to finalize the plan, and while there's no schedule that's set in stone, he says that they do want to get started here sooner rather than later. Jacob Barker, CBC News, Wheatley.
Canada Day is tomorrow, and for the first time, LaSalle will be hosting its own celebration. The free event, which includes live music and food, will start at 5 in the evening and run until 11 at night. It will be at the Loop and Event Center at LaSalle Landing, and while fireworks are usually the way to cap off Canada Day, LaSalle is doing things a little differently.
It's really, truly something special to see them all go up in the air and just totally change into different pictures and patterns, and it's really, really neat. So it's our first time doing a Canada Day event here, and at 10 p.m. we have a Canada-themed drone show. Very excited for that. It's hundreds of drones that go in the air and simultaneously create pictures, and so we really wanted to do something unique. We just did fireworks for our Strawberry Festival, so the drone show seemed like something fun and different compared to our neighbors. It's all Canada-themed to really embrace that feel of being proud of being Canadian. We don't have the smoke, you don't have all of that sound as well that can scare some of the natural environment, the pets like the snakes and birds and everything else on our waterfront. So it will have a little bit less impact than when you have the fireworks. Our neighbors can do the fireworks, we'll do the drone show, and everyone can pick what they get to enjoy tomorrow. With everything going on this year, we really felt like it was important to embrace Canada Day and show how proud we are to be Canadian. So that's why we're doing it, and hopefully it'll be something that we continue to do.
And if you want to take in the Canada Day Parade here in Windsor, the parade route this year is going to be starting at 11 a.m. at Olette and Avenue and Giles Boulevard. It will run all the way to Pitt Street. This year's theme is True North Strong and Free. There's going to be fan zones, cupcakes, and entertainment along the route. Celebrations are expected to wrap up by 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Khalil Hassanali is here with weather. Khalil, it was a sticky one out there today.
Yeah, very, very sticky. We still have that heat warning in place, but it is going to start coming down over the next little bit. And I was noticing all of those Canada Day celebrations. Looks like you'll actually be in really good weather if you are trying to get out to them. It might not look like it in the middle of the day, but if it's 11 to 1, you'll be pretty good. Between 2 and 5, maybe a little bit wet. But then going after that towards the evening time, going to LaSalle for that drone show should be pretty nice. It's going to be staying warm. Dry weather returns towards the end of the work week. So looking at the weather over the next little bit, we are going to be looking at a high tomorrow of 28 degrees. Feels much warmer than that. We do have a chance of some rain and thunderstorms, but by nighttime, 10 o'clock, going to LaSalle, going to be nice and beautiful, 24 degrees to watch that drone show.
Awesome. Thanks, Khalil.
Okay.
So we've hit a pretty big milestone here. Tomorrow, it's going to be 75 years since CBC Windsor's radio broadcast went live on air. It launched July 1st, 1950. Downtown Councillor Ronaldo Agostino visited our Windsor morning team for some early celebrations.
CBC is a storyteller for the nation, right? And it's very unique because not everybody has that, right? Not everybody has a coast-to-coast television network. And, you know, I went to University of Windsor to study communications, and you hear the stories about the CBC is not just a network that wants to be there, it's a network that has to be there. So, you know, you're going in parts of the country where there may be not even roads, but the CBC had to find a way to get there, right?
Agostino presented us with a proclamation from Windsor Mayor Drew Dilkins and the rest of City Council. It congratulates us on the years we've spent broadcasting to the community. And later this year, CBC Windsor TV will also celebrate 50 years of Channel 9. And we are, of course, able to do all of this because of you. You tune in, you watch, and you listen, but you also email in with your news tips, or you sit down and share your personal stories with us. So thank you for trusting us and coming along for the ride. And to celebrate all that we've done over the years, CBC's Mike Evans gives us this look back.
CBC News Magazine salutes Windsor, the Salt City, the Motor City, the Gateway City. It is the 9th largest and most southerly in Canada, and the latest in the list of Canadian cities to acquire a television station of its own.
Now at Windsor, they have an impressive glimpse of the United States, the friendly giant just across one of the busiest river shipping areas in the world. The towers of Detroit looming as backdrop to a noisy international welcome.
The explosion blew out the whole black quarter of the building. The roof ends at a solitary steel girder. And what you see hanging down with a checkered tile on it is actually the floor of the second story.
People jammed the roads, the parking lots, and the fields around Windsor Airport. The Concorde was coming. The plane was late. The minutes ticked by, then like some prehistoric flying creature, it emerged from the clouds.
People here expected the casino would bring jobs, but they also feared it would bring crime to what used to be a quiet Canadian city.
CN tracks on the riverfront were also removed, and a new riverfront park is developing.
1, 2, 3. Another one. Right.
This ceremony was the first step toward a totally re-landscaped riverfront.
It was the largest blackout in North American history. It exposed the fragility of our electricity system, our interdependence with the United States, and the resilience of 50 million people who were suddenly without power.
A disaster. We've lost baby items, clothes. This is what I came home to.
The minister has indicated, and I've said in the past, that and the estimation is it'll be a 4-year construction period, 18-month open period, so probably 2022, early 2022, that time frame.
The full 15-minute video is now up on our CBC Windsor YouTube page and also on our website, cbc.ca/Windsor. And a reminder that you can watch CBC's Canada Day special tomorrow on CBC News Network and our streaming platforms. It's a full day of coverage, and it starts early, beginning at 6 a.m. Eastern. And who knows, you might even see a familiar face on there, because we'll be going live from Windsor's parade route. The coverage will end with an evening concert featuring some of Canada's best-known performers. Stellantis is recalling Windsor-made minivans. It's because of an airbag issue affecting certain vehicles. During a crash, one type of airbag in the vehicle may not inflate properly. The recall affects Chrysler Pacifica, Dodge Grand Caravan, and Voyager models from 2022 to 2025. So the company says that could be more than 250,000 vehicles. Transport Canada says nearly 22,000 were sold in Canada. Stellantis says it's not aware of any related injuries or accidents, but it's urging customers to follow the instructions on their recall notices. There's a Windsor dance group that's going to be showing off its moves at a Serbian festival next month. CBC's Dulcin Chen caught up with them before their big trip.
The young people who comprise the Openak Serbian folklore ensemble of Windsor have been practicing a lot lately. That's because in July they'll be traveling to the Serbian city of Čačak to take part in an international dance festival. Ensemble organizer Angie Stevanov-Lamar says it's a chance for the group's members to share their unique Serbian-Canadian heritage.
We have some of our members who are going for the first time and some who are returning multiple times now. It's really an honor to dance in that country, to show the people there and the family that we have there, to show them what we do here in Canada to preserve our tradition and our culture.
The ensemble was started in the 1960s by Stevanov-Lamar's father, who wanted to keep Serbian culture alive in Windsor, Essex. The name of the group, Openak, comes from the Serbian word for a traditional peasant shoe, which is part of the dancers' costumes when they perform. The age of the dancers ranges from teens to early 20s. Successive generations have kept the ensemble infused with new blood. Current group members Adam Lamar and Jelena Kanijevic say every performance is a workout.
You have to have a lot of cardio, a lot of fitness, a lot of endurance you need to keep up with the steps, especially if it's a long dance. Like dances vary from like 5 minutes to like 9 minutes even. A lot of movement comes with it and a lot of fast-paced movement, and I love that feeling.
As a young child, I remember watching Openak and older dance groups dancing, and I remember trying to imitate their steps and all of that. I think people don't really understand how hard it is to dance on stage doing high cardio for about 10 minutes.
The Openak Serbian folklore ensemble of Windsor may have a multi-generational history, but Stevanov-Lamar says the local Serbian-Canadian community has even deeper roots, reaching back more than 100 years in the city's past. Dulcin Chen, CBC News, Windsor.
That's so cool to see. Good luck to them as they go on to the festival. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is getting his opportunity to get back into the House of Commons. He lost his seat in the federal election, but Prime Minister Mark Carney has now announced a by-election for later this summer. Poilievre lost in April to a Liberal candidate in the Ottawa area riding of Carleton, and since then he's not been able to sit in the House, missing question period debates and votes. The by-election will be on August 18th in the Alberta riding of Battle River Crowfoot. Conservative Damien Kurek won in the last election with more than 80% of the vote, but he stepped down in mid-June to make way for Poilievre to run. Israel's military is acknowledging what it calls harm to civilians in Gaza seeking aid. It says its forces have new instructions based on what's been learned and that the specific incidents are under review. The issue has erupted since an Israeli-backed aid group began operations. The UN says over 400 people have been killed trying to reach its distribution sites. In the latest Gaza military operations, Palestinians are describing a day of the heaviest Israeli bombardments in weeks. Gaza officials say at least 60 people were killed, and a warning, some details are disturbing. So more than 20 people died when an Israeli air attack hit a beachfront cafe. Witnesses described bodies torn to pieces. Elsewhere, tank shelling was reported, and Israeli airstrikes on 4 schools were reported after people sheltering inside were warned to flee. Amid heightened ceasefire speculation, Israel's security cabinet was to convene. An Israeli minister is meeting U.S. officials in Washington on Tuesday. We're taking a look outside there. It is hot and humid, still under that warning. We've got more news coming up. Trade negotiations between Canada and the United States are back on again. President Donald Trump called them off on Friday, in part because of Canada's digital services tax. But Prime Minister Carney has now rescinded the tax. Karina Roman now on the tax that wasn't, and the state of negotiations with Donald Trump.
Canada is reversing a policy 5 years in the making. The digital services tax was to be a 3% levy on the tech giants that would have brought in billions of dollars. The move to rescind the tax comes after U.S. President Donald Trump threatened to stop trade talks with Canada, and it follows a phone call yesterday between Prime Minister Mark Carney and Trump. But Carney is downplaying the move's significance.
It's part of a bigger negotiation. It's something that we expected in the broader sense that would be part of a final deal.
And Carney hints that the DST was likely to be scrapped anyway. In other words, it was not a hill to die on.
It is a question of timing in terms of the date for the final negotiations and when the tax was coming into effect. And it doesn't make sense to collect tax from people and then remit them back. So it provides some certainty.
That's certainly in contrast to how the White House is framing this.
It's very simple. Prime Minister Carney in Canada caved to President Trump in the United States of America.
Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilievre thinks the mistake was giving up the tax and getting nothing but renewed talks in return. In a statement on X, he said the following. As recently as 2 days ago, the finance minister insisted the digital services tax would proceed. Then the prime minister put his elbows down and canceled the tax at the 11th hour. The tax is gone for good. The digital services tax was brought in to address the fact that tech giants operating in Canada but not based here may not be paying taxes on revenues generated from Canadians. It would have applied to companies that make more than $20 million in revenues, mostly U.S.-based companies. It was set to go into effect today to collect 3 years of retroactive taxes, about $2 billion, and then billions more in the years ahead. Now it seems dead, although the trade talks have been resurrected, with the July 21st deadline for a deal still intact. For now. Karina Roman, CBC News, Ottawa.
Tim Hortons customers who were told by mistake that they'd won a prize want the coffee chain to pay up anyway. The prize in question, a boat. A judge has okayed a class action suit to go ahead in Quebec. The CBC's Jayla Bernstein has the story.
Imagine it's roll up to win season and you get this email from Tim Hortons. You've won a boat and a trailer.
I was at work, I was jumping in my seat going, oh my God, this money could be so good. This could be a down payment. This could be paying off those bills. It's life-changing.
But Lori Buxton learned it was all a mistake.
It was like, oh, you won something, but you didn't. It's kind of heart-wrenching, actually, because you get hopes that you've won something, and it's significant to a lot of people right now.
That email was sent out to thousands of people across the country. Within hours, Tim Hortons followed up with this letter saying technical errors were to blame. Not good enough under Quebec law, says this lawyer.
I think Tim Hortons really dropped the ball here.
He's arguing Tim Hortons owes a boat, trailer, plus damages to everyone who got that email.
You can't underscore the emotional impact you have on somebody when you tell them that they won a huge prize. Most people don't win prizes every day.
A judge has authorized the Tim Hortons class action to go ahead, but there's a hitch.
It was great news, and then when I got to find out after it was translated that this says only for Quebec only, it was very frustrating, very upsetting.
It comes down to Quebec's distinct consumer protection law, which states merchants should be held responsible for errors, not customers. Not the end of the road for Buxton and thousands of others, but now they're scrambling to find another law firm willing to take on their case. A spokesperson for Tim Hortons issued a statement saying that they have apologized and they won't be commenting further as it's now a legal issue. It'll be up to the courts to decide if the coffee chain will have to make good on its prize offers, mistaken or not. Jayla Bernstein, CBC News, Montreal.
Another reminder that you can watch CBC's Canada Day special tomorrow on CBC News Network and our streaming platforms. It's going to be a full day of coverage beginning at 6 a.m. Eastern. We've got your full weather forecast coming up, so stay with us. Khalil Hassanali is back with more weather. Khalil, what's our week looking like here?
Looking pretty good. It's going to be maybe a little bit unsettled tomorrow, Jennifer. That's going to be in the middle of the day, but in the morning time, it should be beautiful. By the evening time, it also should be beautiful. So maybe a little bit of a blip in the radar in the middle of the day, but maybe that's a chance for everyone to rest and recoup for the nighttime and all the festivities taking place. So once again, the middle of the day might be a bit unsettled for Canada Day, but it's going to be staying warm. And then by the end of the work week, maybe even by Wednesday, it's going to be nice and dry, and that's going to go to the first part of the weekend. So that's going to be gorgeous. So the temperature for tomorrow is going to be nice and warm. Once again, as we head out the door in the morning, not really expecting any precipitation to come down, but it is going to be perhaps a chance of some rain, 40%, feeling like 33, 28 is the actual temperature high, but it's going to feel much warmer than that. There's a risk of a thunderstorm as well. Once again, that's going to be through the middle part of the day. So if you're getting out for the Canada Day celebration in Windsor, 11 to 1, should be just fine. And even if you're going to the drone show in LaSalle, should be gorgeous at nighttime. Looking at 10 o'clock when that is supposed to start, 24 degrees under a mix of sun and cloud. Not too bad. Right now, our current temperature, 28 degrees in Windsor, 21 in Toronto. Still pretty warm in our nation's capital at 29 degrees. Overnight tonight, what we do have in terms of the weather picture, scattered rain, possibly a chance of some rain, maybe a thunderstorm as well. So still unsettled through the overnight hours. 21 degrees is our low in and around that through the rest of southwestern Ontario at the moment. And then for tomorrow, that chance of rain mixed in through the day. So I'm putting that in, but it could be maybe it doesn't rain, and that will be this is the worst that it could be, so not too bad. Looking at the rest of the weather picture, Canada Day, once again, 28, 27 by Wednesday, only a slight chance of rain coming down, 25, 26, even more gorgeous, let's say, as we get towards 29 and Saturday, not really expecting any more rain after tomorrow, hopefully, if that comes to fruition.
Looking great. Yeah, like we said, you take a little cat nap in the daytime tomorrow, just a
Let's
little
do that,
break,
yeah.
then you go back out for fireworks and drone show.
That sounds like a perfect plan to me.
That sounds so great. Thanks, Khalil, and thanks everyone for watching. Have a good night.